Welcome to Talk Music Talk. I'm your host, Boice, and on this episode, I have a discussion with Vaughn Decarlo. Vaughn is a musician. She's also a mother, actress, author. She does it all. We go way, way back to high school where I was her drum major, so we got to reminisce a little. We also talked about spirituality, relationships, her relationship with Patrice O'Neal, who passed away 4 years ago, the great comedian. We'll talk about him in depth. So I hope you enjoy this interview with Vaughn Decarlo, and stick around after the show for Coda for some last-minute notes. Here is Vaughn Decarlo. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. So, I was always curious, how did you get from... Okay, so I guess people should know we know each other from the band, right?
Yes.
Yes.
See?
This will be the only interview where you are interviewed by a former drum major. Your former drum
Yes.
Officially.
My first inspiration for music. Hi, I'm Vaughn Decarlo, and music started when I was at Clairton High School.
Yes.
Playing the clarinet.
Clarinet. And you had long hair going down your back, didn't you?
What you trying to say about my extensions? They still long. Well, back in the day, it was just my hair. But, I had real long hair. I wore glasses. Mm-hmm. And I played the clarinet, which was actually a hand-me-down from my sister. My sister Michelle played the clarinet. She's older than me. And music didn't really stick to her, but I was a music freak from, day one. Mm-hmm. And it was just a hand-me-down. I honestly just wanted to learn how to play piano or guitar. Yeah. And neither of which was available in my household. Uh-huh. It was like, look, we struggled to get this clarinet. Yeah. Somebody gonna play it. And that somebody was me. Mm-hmm. So
did you have a hard time? I could never learn music. I could play it by ear, because I played trombone, if you remember that. And I could not play with... How was it? Was it easy for you to learn, or? You know what?
Reading music I always felt like is like learning a whole new language. Yeah, and I always felt so smart when I got it. And I can't say that I'm like an accomplished music, like I could read music like a pro. I won't pat myself on the back for that. But I will say that I have taught myself guitar. And I'm no John Mayer, don't get hyped. Okay. I can only play like 2 or 3 songs. But I taught myself guitar, and I write my music on the keyboards. I can play both, but not like a master. I can play it well enough to accompany myself, especially guitar, and like 1 or 2 songs, but I write on there, and I can read chords. Okay. And I actually, with my vocalizing and when I was learning pitch, the music kind of helped me, and where the notes are on the staff helped me mentally with where I am pitch-wise as far as vocals. So that's a long-winded way of saying, nah. I don't really
that's more than me.
I don't read music fluently, but I think one day when I'm like 70 or 80 and I retire from the entertainment business, I think I want to like go back to school and study music theory and really learn the language of music and reading it. And maybe teach or something. I don't know. That's cool. Or be like a 93-year-old Alicia Keys. And
yes, why not? Why not? Is that how do you write on keys, or?
It just depends on the mood I'm in, which instrument I'm gonna grab over there. Usually if I write a song on guitar, it's because I was practicing guitar and practicing the chords, and I started hearing something and started singing to it, and it became a song. Okay. When I write on the keyboards, it's very intentional. It's like, okay, I'm finding this note, I'm doing this. I already hear the melody in my head, and now I'm just finding where it is on the keyboards so that I can start working it out. So it just depends on where the inspiration is coming from at the time. And I do musical improv.
Yes, I was going to ask you, because I just started doing... improv myself. Oh. Yes, comedy. So,
welcome.
So, tell me, thank you. I love it. I just started
do you
5
sing?
weeks ago.
I know you're a musician.
Yeah, I sing.
Of course you sing.
Yeah,
sing. That was a stupid question.
So
my bad.
The improv's
you have a whole album and everything. Yeah. So musical improv is like the biggest discovery of my life. I never knew it existed. After my husband, Patrice O'Neal, passed away, it'll be 3 years this coming November. Okay. Several months after, I kind of went into what people identify as like a depressive state. Yeah. I remember like it was yesterday. It was April, the month of April 2012, and I wouldn't get up for anything. Yeah. Like I slept literally 18 hours a day, only waking up during the day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner to feed my kid and to spend a little time with her and then go back to bed. And I did that for a month straight. And I remember catching myself like, you got to do something. Yeah. And the first thing that came to my mind was improv. Because I had done the Patrice O'Neal show Coming Soon. Yeah. It was like way ahead of his time in like 06 or 07. Patrice created this online web series. This was before that was the norm.
Yeah, everybody does it now.
And like I said, it was a web series ahead of its time. And I was the only person on the show at the time without a lot of comedy experience. You know, I'm an actress. When I first moved to New York, I did a little stand-up. I did, sketch. I do parodies. I do all these different things. But I was in a room with some vets, and they would rip me a new booty hole. Like, they would go in on me, like, oh, my God. And I would always wish, like, geez, I wish I had more improv experience. And so cutting back to that state where I caught myself, like, not waking up really and engaging in life anymore after he passed away, the first thing that came to my head was I want to do improv. And I went right to my computer and I registered for classes at UCB Theater. Yeah. I finished the program there, and I was a diversity scholarship recipient, which I'm very proud of.
How long's your program?
Shoulder shimmy. And there I discovered musical improv as an elective. And
how long's their program? What is
it? As long as it takes for you to finish. Okay. But it's hard to say. It's like designed for 4 main courses, and then there's advanced development, and then there's electives, which is where I found the musical improv program. And I took their 101 and 102 in musical improv, and I was like, oh my God, how did I go my entire life and not know that this existed?
It felt so natural.
UCB doesn't really stress musical improv. They stress the Herald and long form improv and all of that, which I'm trained in and I'm fine and I could do. But when after I took those 2 electives, I discovered the Magnet Theater. Okay. And the Magnet Theater's program with musical, they're all about musical improv. They have a full program similar to, like what UCB has for the Herald. The Magnet has for musical improv. Like, they go deep. Yeah. So I started studying there, and I'm still studying there. And through both experiences, I met the core members of the group Good Catch Comedy. Okay. And we're an independent group. We've been together probably over a year now. And we perform at Soho Playhouse. We're like off-Broadway. Soho Playhouse, The Pit, the People's Improv Theater, all over New York, QSIC, Queen's Secret Improv Club. It's such an experience. I always say, and I tell this story to say, like improv saved my life. And when you tag music on it, it's like, what? Where am I gonna? I'm going nowhere. I'm like trying to be the female Wayne Brady up in here. Like, cut it out.
So how is the musical improv different from regular comedy? Improv, you just like,
well, as you know, with like improv, you get a suggestion from the audience and then you build scenes. And with musical improv, our group, Good Catch Comedy, we get an audience suggestion, and then it's whatever your suggestion is, the musical, and we do a full narrative.
Oh, that's great.
Scenes into songs, into storylines, with the good guy, the bad guy. Sort of like a plot thing happening, all types of stuff happening, but you have a beginning, middle, and end. It's like watching an unstructured Broadway musical. I mean, with improv, you have good nights and you have bad nights, but the best thing about it is improv, so every mistake is on purpose.
And it's okay. That's what I liked about it, is like, you become so unself-aware or less self-conscious.
Oh my God. It's helped me so much as far as it keeps me sharp. as far as my acting, my comedy, and my singing, it's the one place where I incorporate everything. Yeah. And I do it often enough that I'm getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And like I said, it's like the funnest thing that I do. It's like a release almost. Because one of my friends came to see one of my shows, and she was like, I've never seen you so cheesy. Because we had a cheesy show that night. It was like one of those, hello, folks. So, it was a cheesy night, which is not always. But that particular night, whatever the show was about, because once you do, the songs just disappear. Like, once you do a song in a scene, it's like, what was that I did again? Yeah. But I just remember it being one of those cheesy Broadway nights type of musicals. And she's like, I've never seen you do those type of characters. Yeah. And I'm not a super strong character person yet, but that's something that I want to develop. Because when I was younger, if you remember, Whoopi Goldberg did her one-woman show on Broadway. I remember that. Okay. Whoopi Goldberg is like the person, if you go, who made you go, wow, when you were a kid? I wish I could do that. It would be Whoopi Goldberg. She's such an amazing storyteller. At her one-woman show, I used to perform it for my mom and my sister. Like, I memorized, I can't do it now, but I memorized the characters and the mannerisms and the monologues and around the 80 motherfucking days. Like, I made my attempts to do her, her one-woman show. And that kind of stuck to me, like, wow. She's funny. She's talented. She tells Patrice used to always say to me, women are the worst storytellers. Yeah. And my defense is Whoopi Goldberg. Like, I watched her recently on Oprah's Life class or something Oprah was doing. Yeah, either the next class. Chapter or like one of those things on OWN. And just the story, she will captivate you. Whoopi Goldberg will captivate you with any story. Yeah. And that's what I want to become better at, whether I'm doing comedy in a form of sketch or improv or stand-up, whatever avenue I'm taking, acting, whatever it is, I just want to develop that sharp sense of storytelling. And right now I'm doing my own one-woman show.
Lasagna,
Lasagna, which is nothing like Whoopi's thing. Whoopi's thing was like characters and different things. My story is personal. It's more of a personal journey about love, loss, and hope. And Lasagna, the title is referring to the loose skin and stretch marks on your lower belly that a lot of women get after pregnancy. Okay. Patrice named it Lasagna for me because that's what he used to call my loose skin and stretch marks.
It was tasty? Because it was tasty?
No, it just really looked like lasagna. Like, it's just scrunched up, loose skin. It's disgusting.
Which is cool because you took the picture, the promotional picture.
Yeah, that is, after, I went through a lot after I had my daughter.
Was it postpartum? Or?
You could call it postpartum depression. I guess people will identify it as that once I tell the story. But you do, when you become a mother, especially if you go through a lot of body changes. Some people don't, some people do. I was one of those that did go through a lot of body changes, and it was just shocking for me because I came from a place where like pretty is important. When I was voted prettiest girl in Clairton High School. And when pretty is all you think you are. I was bad. I got two. I was best dressed too. I didn't want to brag. But we were different years, so we weren't in competition. You were ahead of me. I looked up to you. You're like a mentor.
Oh, thank you.
But when pretty is all you think you are, where do you go from there? And, the one-woman show deals with that, low self-esteem issues and all of these different things. And I've been working on it for years. Obviously, if Patrice gave me the title, it's been, he's been gone already 3 years, and I was working on it prior to that, just developing it over the years from the time I had my daughter. Yeah. And I kind of shelved it at one point because it didn't have an ending. I didn't know where I was going with it. It was dark. I was like, where's the funny in this? Because there's always truth in comedy, but I didn't want to do something that was so dark that I didn't even want to do it. Why would anyone want to watch it and be depressed? So I kind of shelved it, and then after Patrice passed, I just started revisiting a lot of things, and one of which was the stage play and the one woman show. And I remember, it's kind of creepy, and don't get freaked out because I'm very spiritual. But I remember one night I was asleep, and I woke up and I could hear, like, this was after Patrice passed. I could hear him like deep in my ear, like not out loud, like I could hear you right now, but like a deep voice in your soul, so to speak. It was like, get up and finish writing. I got up and I listened. I listened to him when he was here. I'm dang sure gonna listen if you all up in my spirit. What's this about? So I went to my office desk area in my house, and I just pulled out my book and I started writing. Yeah. And it was one of those out-of-body experiences where it was almost like I wasn't writing it. Yeah. It was like it was just writing itself. Or if you will, Patrice's spirit within me. Yeah. And I had my ending, and I found my purpose in the one-woman show, which is the love, the loss I had. The love I had, the loss I had, I didn't have the meaning, which was hope.
Okay.
So now that I have the hope part, which is the whole meaning behind it, is to inspire people to share your story, to say, this is what I went through, this is what it is, and this is how you surpass it.
Yes.
And, that's what it's about. So now I have it. So now I'm working on it. And I'm looking forward to hopefully opening it, in 2015. Okay. And it's going to have, I'm doing some cover songs. But a lot of the show is going to have my original music in it, some of which is already out. When Patrice passed away, I was just finishing my first independent album, and it really didn't have I didn't have a chance to do anything with it. It just was kind of released, and it just kind of sat there. And it was a good what's the word I'm looking for?
Learning experience?
It was a good learning experience and attempt, and the songs are really good, but I was a one-man band with it. I produced everything. I wrote everything. I did all my own background voice. Like, I was truly a one-man band. Yeah. And I'm going to re-record some of those songs, and I'm including some new songs, and I'm going to perform them, the songs that are relevant in the play. In the one-woman show, I'm going to perform those. So the one-woman show is kind of set up with songs and monologues that connect and flow into a full story. Okay. So like a opening song into a monologue that goes into another song that leads to the next one and the next one, and they'll flow and connect and tell a story.
With you talking in between. And, Okay, great.
Yep.
So have you always been spiritual? Because that's one of the things I like about your Instagram and everything. In the light, which you always have hashtag.
Stay in the light. My hashtag stay in the light. Yeah. Absolutely. My mother is very spiritual. And when I was little, she always told me, you can do whatever you put your mind to. And she didn't have a lot of direction for how to be in the entertainment business. She's from small town. Where we're from, boys, people on TV aren't real. This ain't real. This is like... That's like out of reach.
Pittsburgh? You say Pittsburgh. You don't even say Clairton.
I say Clairton, but then it depends on the interview, because it's like, how much do I have to explain about Clairton? People say Pittsburgh, like, if you're from a part of New York, you don't get into all the details.
It's only a half hour.
New York is New York. Yes, I always go, it's 30 miles south, small still town outside of Pittsburgh. It's just like too wordy. Yeah. So it depends on how much time I have in an interview. If I'll just go Pittsburgh. If they ask, I'll always tell. But most of the time, small still town, 30 miles south out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, called Clairton. It's just too much. People don't want to hear all that. But if they ask, I certainly do tell. You can't not be proud of the orange and black. You get punched in the face. Bears. It's like Clairton is doing big things. They got Tyler Boyd out there. Have you heard about him? No. Tyler Boyd took the Clairton Bears. They had 100,000 games straight winning, and now I believe he's at Pitt now, and he's probably going to go pro.
That's excellent.
So big up to big things going on in Clairton. But anyway.
Are you saying your grandmother?
My mother, yeah. Coming from there, when I was growing up, there wasn't a lot of, my mom didn't have a lot of direction, but she had a lot of encouragement. Yeah. She never wanted me to think that I couldn't do anything. And I attach that to God.
Yeah.
You know, you could do anything through faith, but faith without works is dead. We all know that, or should know that. People think that, I'm just going to pray and God is going to give me my wants and desires like he's a genie. God is not your genie. So everybody stop rubbing a bottle. God is not popping out of a bottle. That's not how it works. That's real disrespectful. Cut it out. Your prayers, and I read the Bible every day. I'm a few books away from being able to say I have read the Bible cover to cover.
Okay.
And,
nice.
It keeps me, the more you read, the more you feel inspired and connected to God, the stronger you are and the less fear you have.
Yes.
Because when you're walking in your purpose, there is no fear.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I like to sing, I like to act, I like to write, I like to do everything that I do. And I certainly am a jack of all trades, master of multitasking. I'm a slash. I got so many slashes in everything that I do that, my slashes got slashes. Yeah. But, and I pray on that too. Like, what is my exact focus, and the answer keeps coming back to me that everything that I do is going to incorporate everything that I do, like the musical improv, like my one-woman show, like my book. I'm not singing the book, but it incorporates my life experiences and everything that happened and how I grew to have such a successful relationship with Patrice. And ultimately, all these things is to serve God's purpose, which is to inspire people.
Yes.
I 100% know that I may not be the best at whatever these things is that I do. You could find somebody better and you could find somebody worse, and I don't care. Yeah. My purpose is in line with God, and I think everything that I've been through, every struggle that I've had, every loss that I've had, is to be able to connect to people and say, you could do it anyway. Yeah. Stop what? Where are you going? Where are you going to go? What do you want to do? You want to sing? Sing. Find your path to that. Everybody has to work. Yeah. For the most part, everybody has to work at something. So it just depends on where you're going to filter your energy. Are you going to stop wanting to be an actress or a singer or a dentist, whatever it is you want to be, to what? Put all that energy into a regular 9-to-5 that you're going to hate? Yeah. Your energy has to go somewhere. It might as well go to what you want it to be, because if God put that desire in you, that's his purpose. Walk in it. Yeah. You have a divine purpose in it. It's not just like the surface desire of it. It's something in there deeper. You just have to connect and see it. Yeah.
And that's what scares people.
It can be scary. It can be scary. And I'll speak for myself in saying it's scary because of the responsibility. I remember when Patrice was alive, he said to me, you should write a book. Yeah. Because you have so much to offer women. Women listen to you differently than they listen to me. Yeah. And this is him speaking on his philosophies and all the things that he taught me. And he's like, you're my top trained soldier. Like, you know this stuff in and out. You should share. Yeah. And I remember I was very resist. I was like, nah, no. That's what you do. You go out there, you debate these things with people. Because I don't mind teaching and sharing, and I obviously like to talk. I don't even think you had one word in since we started. So I obviously like to share and talk. But what I don't like is to debate. Like, I don't like people that they're only listening to find a way to debate and make you wrong and argue. It's like, really? That's what it takes, a lot of energy to share. Yes. And that's what you got out of it. Well, go somewhere in a corner and go argue with somebody else. Because I could always tell when somebody is asking a question out of curiosity or for argument's sake. Yes. I have a very sensitive soul. I can see people. I read people's energy more than what they're saying. Yes. I can see through you. You better know it. I could see through you. So it's like I didn't want to engage in that type of thing. And I was quite frankly afraid to deal with whatever questions would come up at the time. And but he kind of pressed...
Questions about what?
About our relationship, about, because if I could quote him, Patrice would say, man honesty becomes misogyny for some reason. Okay. And he hated living in a world where no matter what men did, they were wrong. And no matter what women did, we were right. Okay. So as a woman, you will get that backlash from other women that go, oh, you're brainwashed or you're goofy, which I did get that. But it's like, no, I'm really happy. And if you listen and you're able to work through that pain of the truth, you'll be happy. You just gotta get there.
Yeah.
And a lot of women are resistant to that. So I wasn't ready then. But he kind of persisted. And I remember I drew up this outline. I said, okay, these are the top things that I feel I learned from you that, you know, I would want to share if I was to do a book. And he looked at the outline and he did his nod that he always does. He kissed me on my forehead and he was like, "You're going to have a bestseller." And he handed me the paperback and walked away. And I was like, "No, I ain't, because I ain't doing it." So I kind of just did that outline to appease the situation and go, see here, look. Because Patrice and I not only were together for 10 years, but we worked together. You know, I was his kind of right-hand man, if you will. And even when he passed away, you know, he had done this comedy album, and the record label contacted me and was like, we have your notes that Patrice sent us. What do you want to do with the album? What do you want to do? So, you know, I do run the name and likeness of Patrice O'Neal, and I was able to release Mr. P and unrelease his comedy albums, very successful albums, and I'm very proud about that. We're working on a documentary for him.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, you know, I'm very prideful in that. And the reason I decided to actually finally do the book is because, you know, I do feel a sense of responsibility that he left me with so much knowledge. Yeah. He left me with so much. So I'm going to do the book. The book kind of is based on, I started from you pulling that outline back out and going, all right, how am I going to do this? Okay.
And this is Speak Fluent Man.
Speak Fluent Man, the top things women should consider before blaming the man.
And it's not Speak Fluent, comma, man. It's not Speak Fluent Man, right? It's
No, Speak Fluent Man. Meaning,
like another language.
No, it is another. Yeah. Exactly. You hit it on the nail. I was about to say the way I came up with the title is because as a woman, I'm never going to be able to actually think like a man, or you know, but it's like learning a new language. If I wanted to learn Chinese, for instance, I'm never going to be able to think like an Asian or anything like that. I'm going to have to engage with them, engage with their culture. I'm not just going to be able to learn their words. I might even have to go to China and sit with, you know, there's an effort you have to put into learning a new language. And that's kind of how I see it in dealing with men. Men have taken the time to learn our language as women because they're the pursuers. They had to learn us. We never really, for the most part, and I'm speaking in general terms, we never really had to learn a man. We just stand there and look juicy, and they come get us and buy us drinks and stuff. You know, hey, hello, I'm a girl. You know, so, and a lot of women go, well, why did he cheat? Why did he do this? Why did he do that? Why did he do? And I, along the way of my relationship with Patrice, have discovered the answers to a lot of these things. And I by no means am claiming to be the guru and have every answer to every question on earth. But what I am doing is sharing my experience. I'm taking some of the things, you know, that Patrice's philosophies that he had about entitlement. I talk about entitlement, double standards, sex, jealousy, trust issues, all that stuff. And I'm saying, okay, Patrice was a very quotable guy, and I quote him on his Twitter account all the time as part of keeping his name alive. And like I take some of those quotes like, man honesty becomes misogyny for some reason. And I go into detail about what he meant by it. And then I give my perspective of it. And I also give a personal story that says, okay, this is what happened this one day, once upon a time. This happened in me and Patrice's life, and this experience taught me why this philosophy is correct or works. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's kind of how it's set up. And like I said, I'm hoping that every relationship is different, every person is different. The ultimate bottom line is just truth. Yeah. And living in your truth. And you can't change anyone.
Regardless of what that truth is.
Find out that person's truth. Be honest. Why are you lying to each other in this interview process called dating, and then finally have sex, and then, it's time for the true colors to come out. You find out you don't even like that person. Or vice versa. That's because y'all both lied, stupid. So stop lying. I come in the door like forward with the truth. Now, granted, I'm newly single. I was with Patrice 10 years, so I definitely can't say I got dating down pat. No. But I can say that I have relationships down pat in learning a person, taking the time to grow with a person, accepting a person's truth, and accepting whether or not I can work with that truth or not. You can't work with everybody's truth. No. Just because you like his juicy lips and you want to lay up with him does not mean he's a good match for you. There's things about him you need to learn to see if you guys are going to mesh. And if there's things that, for instance, if your man is truthful and he goes, I will always desire other women physically. And you might be the type of woman that go, all right, we'll do threesomes. As long as I'm there, I'm good. And he's go, I do.
And that's your truth.
And you go, I do, and that's your relationship, a.k.a. me and Patrice. But however, I know there's a woman, and there's some men that would never be able to do that. Yeah. I'm not suggesting that they should. What I'm suggesting is you find out and accept the truth in that, and accept your truth and whether or not you could deal with certain things. And if you can't, you are not going to change that person. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
They're not for you.
People think you're going to change. You can change somebody.
Nope.
You can only change yourself.
Nope. Yeah. The only possibility that you have in a relationship with anybody, whether it's boyfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend, girlfriend, platonic friends, children, mothers, father, any relationship on earth, the only potential you have is to grow with each other. Yeah. We're changing every day. You cannot change. I can't change you because I said so. I can only grow with your own changes within yourself. That it doesn't work like that. So Speak Fluent Man is like just full of my experiences that is there to serve the purpose of just helping to inspire something in you to go, oh, okay, that might work for me. Or, okay, I see where she's coming from with that. I wouldn't do that. But the only thing I want people to do when they read it is to be honest with themselves about what they can or cannot do. Yeah. And the biggest thing Patrice taught me as a woman is rising above my emotions to think logically. Because that's where most women fall short. Not all. Yeah. You have to say not all. Yeah.
So.
Most females fall short in the area of logic and reasoning when it comes to their emotions. For real. And I say that straight out of experience. Like, it took a long process of learning myself and learning my relationship with Patrice to go, oh my God, I see what I'm doing wrong. And now I can be accountable for it, and now things will be better. Okay. If you constantly lie, or you know, no, it's your fault, it's always, I did this because you did that. If you're never accountable for your part in something, you'll never be happy.
Or grow.
Or grow. And that's why you'll be like a 40, 50-year-old woman still trying to play a 20-year-old game. And the game don't work the same. The game ain't the same. You're not going to get away with things that somebody, young and juicy get away with. It's like, no. Not going to happen. You can't blink your eyes the same way at a certain age. It's not going to happen. I still try, though.
It doesn't hurt, right? So who are you? Okay, I know Patrice was a big influence in your life. Who were you before you met Patrice?
You know what? That is an amazingly great question.
Thank you.
Boice, you're my new
I try.
It's funny. I have two answers for that. Okay. One, I'll start by saying I've always been the exact same girl since that little girl who was watching TV, trying to mimic Whoopi Goldberg and putting her ear close to the speakers on the floor and trying to drown out the project drama around me and drowning myself in music and having these dreams and aspirations. When I was 10 years, now I'm half black, half white. My mother is the white one. And truly my biggest inspiration of them all, really. Who instilled courage in me, like I said earlier. When I was younger, I didn't know why I never met my white family before. Okay. And I grew up around all my black family. We all lived in the same projects. Blair Heights, Blair Heights. What up?
I remember
my entire family lived there, but I never met my white family. And I didn't learn until I was an adult why. Mm-hmm. But when I was about 10 years old, I wrote this letter. And I wanted my mother to send it to my grandmother off in Virginia, where she's from. And in the letter, you know what I'm saying, little stuff, little cute stuff, 10-year-old stuff, just trying to really, it was sad to read because I was really trying to sell myself as a good person, even though I'm black.
Like, why wouldn't you want to
know me? Exactly. So I'm writing stuff like, hi, my name is Vaughn. I like to chew gum. My mom yells at me when I don't make my bed. You know, little cute stuff. But in the letter, I said, when I grow up, it's so specific, it gives me chills. I'm going to move to New York. I'm going to write plays and be an actress and a singer because nobody could tell you what to say or how to feel when you're free. And I saw being an artist as being free. Yeah. And cut to me being in New York, and my first couple of years in New York was rough. Yes. Oh my God. I mean, I don't even want to tell you how I was living. I was barely living. Yeah. Classic starving artist story. Let's just keep it short. And I remember I would quit every 5 minutes of calling my mom, Mom, I'm coming home. I quit. And she would, give all her encouraging mom stuff. And no. One day, she sent me something in the mail. And it was this letter.
Oh, really?
That I wrote when I was 10 years old. Aww. And I was like, what is this? And I looked at it and I read it and I called my mom. I said, what? She was like, I never want to hear you say you're quitting again. You have always known who you are. And I don't care how long it takes. There is no time limit as long as you are breathing. Aww. And I have never said I quit since that day. So who was I before that? Exactly who I am now, but with a lot less confidence. Okay. The second part is, who was I before? The reason I wanted to put it in two parts is because I used to always say, for 10 years, for so many years, I've been Mimi's mom and Patrice's wife. Okay. That when he died, and my daughter's getting older and is soon going to be on her own, I reflect and go, I've asked myself that. What is your name, girl? Who are you? And it's like, I have to reflect all the way back to my mom saying, you've always known who you are. But there was definitely a point after Patrice died when I was like, I've identified myself through him and my daughter for so long, I almost forgot. So here I am, Vaughn Decarlo, and I don't have a last name, Vaughn Decarlo X. I went through a whole P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs remix of my name when Patrice died, because he died 1 month prior to our actual wedding date. We were going to get married in December. He died in November. And, it's both of our fault. I talk about that in a book. As well, like the responsibility you have to make sure that you do the right thing and get married is so important. Because so many of us, especially in our black culture, will go, oh, the government has nothing to do with how we live. Yeah. Well, yes, they do. Because if anything happens to any one of you, I cannot stress, without getting too deep into the story, I cannot stress the loss you will incur on both ends, in life and in death, if you do not protect each other. Yeah. It is that serious. You do have to be married. And, Patrice and I were together 10 years. We probably should have been married at least 5 years in. There were people that didn't.
Is it common law?
The state that we were in did not recognize common law. Okay. But there are common law rules, but every state is different. And there were people who didn't really even know we weren't married yet, because this is my husband. Hello, everybody. This is Vaughn. This is my wife. This is my husband, Patrice. We referred to each other as husband and wife for years. Yeah. So there were people that didn't know, that it wasn't a technically solidified. Yeah. And we both suffered because of that. Like I said, without getting all into detail.
Just like financially and all that stuff, legally and all that.
all over the place.
Yeah.
Let's just say
I can imagine.
everything.
Okay.
So you don't want to have that feeling that, oh, the government doesn't have anything. They do. Because there's rules to things, and if there's no one set in place for that rule, you're in trouble. Yeah. So that was a hard lesson. That was a very hard lesson for me that I wouldn't want. I would hope that, my loss would inspire somebody to go, no, we're going to do this, so. Okay,
cool. And how did you meet him? How did you?
We met on a set of 25th Hour.
Well, how long were you in New York?
Excuse me. We met on a set of 25th Hour. It was the summer after 9/11.
Okay.
And, Spike Lee used to do a movie every summer.
Yeah.
And the set of 25th, he was actually in the film. At the time, this was during my early day struggle, and my roommate at the time, who I had met in an acting class, she was friends with the casting director on the 25th Hour. And she was booked to do, extra work and stuff. And at the time, I didn't have, SAG card. I wasn't union or anything. And she was like, oh, I'll see, if I could introduce you to the casting director, see if we could get you in there. Maybe you could get eligible for your SAG card, whatever. This is way early. And she hooked it up and got me in there. That was the whole excitement of me going that day. And I went to what they call an ADR session.
What's that?
An ADR session is when actors come into a studio and they provide the noise that the background noise that you hear. Like if you see a scene in a movie and you have your two main actors having a conversation, but they're in a bar. So, you have to have the background noise of people talking in the bar. Because when you shoot it, it's dead silence. Yeah. It's just those two doing their dialogue. So you do kind of like the background noise or whatever. But that was considered a day player part. And I'm like, yay. And some of the actors in the movie were also at the ADR session. And Patrice was one of those people. Okay. And when we met, he did not like me at all. And I was like, what did I do? He had invited a bunch of the, girls that was there to come see a show at He was headlining at Caroline's on Broadway that Friday. It was a Tuesday or something. And I was like, well, can I come? And he I guess you could come with her, pointing to my roommate. It's I'm sure she was going to bring you anyway. Yeah. And I'm like, what did I do?
Why did he like you?
He said I had what he identifies as pretty girl syndrome. And mind you, these stories, are in the book. Some of it is in the play. I tell these stories. And pretty girl syndrome, as defined by him, is actually the sense of entitlement that women have that comes courtesy of their vagina. Okay. Just being a woman, you have a sense of entitlement, so to speak. And with pretty girls, it's usually topped off with some type of unbelievable arrogance. Okay. And he felt like I had it. But here's the interesting thing, and this is, like I said, this is one of the monologues and scenes in Lasagna where I'm talking about how we first met. The interesting thing with that is I did have that defense attitude, but it was really insecurity. It was total insecurity.
And that's what a lot of people think
that's a lot with pretty women too. It's usually insecurity, and he knew that. Yeah. But he wanted to find a way to work it out of me. And especially when we met, he didn't know I had the lasagna on my stomach. I was covering up a lot physically. And as a pretty girl, like I said, when you come from pretty is all you are and you don't really know your self-worth, you tend to have a certain attitude, which I definitely had. And he called me on it. And he said to me, I started hanging out with him thereafter. I went to the show and we became friends or whatever. And he said to me, I'm going to do what no man has ever done for you before. I ain't going to touch you. I'm going to be a friend and I'm going to teach you something I'm going to teach you something, because no man has taught you nothing. You're just running around with your pretty face and your big booty, and you're just lost.
Was that true?
It was true. Okay. To an extent, it was very true, in the sense that I didn't know men. I didn't know why men lied to us. I've always, the one thing I came into the door with Patrice was 2 big ears ready to listen. Yeah. Because I never understood why do men lie to us? Why, do you get in a relationship with someone, or you sleep with someone and then they don't like you? And I didn't know the answers to these things. And innately, I knew a man had to give me that answer. Yeah. Because none of the women I knew the answer. They were all in the same confused relationship type spiral circle that I was in all these years. So when Patrice started hitting me with the truth, I was like, oh, where you been all my life? Yeah. But I liked him, and he had a way about him. He was very charming with his way of delivering truth. A lot of people can't deliver the truth the way he did. Yeah. He will make you love him while telling you your truth, which is painful as hell, Like, women age like bread, not like wine. He'll hit you with that, and then he'll talk you through it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, whoa. Wait a minute. You mean I'm not the flyest thing on earth? Wait a minute. Tell me about this, So he worked all that out of me, and I will always be grateful for that, because I'm so above pretty at this point in life that it's like, of course I have my vanity still in me. I work out, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do anything. I'm on my J-Lo. I'm trying to be 50 and fly, and 60 and fly, and 90 and fly. I'm still a woman, and we're visual objects, so yes, that's important. However, it's not my worth. I'm worth so much more than that, and I know that now, and I know why. And I credit Patrice for all of that. I love him for, oh my God. Yeah. I was about to say there's not enough words or enough time to describe it. And I'm like, well, that's why that's why you wrote the book. Because it's just, he gave me so much. Yeah.
So are you hesitant, or maybe that's not the word, for another relationship, like if it could compare or live up to Patrice, or?
No, it's not a fair comparison for anybody. I'm at the place, like other people, I'm like, please. Yeah. What? I must have, do not come near across my forehead or something, because like people have their own intimidation and reservations because of that, but it's not me. Yeah. Like when I look at a guy, I'm not comparing them. No one's going to be Patrice, but I'm the type of woman, I like a certain type of man. Yeah. I like a dominant man. I'm like an alpha female that likes a more dominant alpha male type. I love a dominant man. Yeah. I love to be able to learn from you. So the hard part is that I do know so much, is finding a man that would be okay with that. Okay. I'm a dude's kind of chick. I love basketball. Yeah. Please don't talk to me when the game is on. Let's not go there. That's a whole nother world that I'm into, and I love doing my trash talk blog and, chopping it up with NBA stuff. But, sometimes men will go, oh, you're the perfect girl, but then not know what to do with it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's fine. Like I said earlier, everybody's not going to be your match. And I remember Jim Norton, one of Patrice's friends, and he's also
he's a comic.
He's a comic, and he co-hosts the Opie and Anthony show, which is now the Opie and Jim Norton show, or O and J. I'm not sure exactly what they call it, but I remember talking to him on the phone, and at one of those dark moments, where I was crying and stuff, and he said, Kennedy's wife, I mean, she got remarried. Yeah. And that was Kennedy. Yeah. It is possible, but take your time. And sure, there was a point where I had my very dark moments where, please, I would cuddle up with, like, oh, please give me company. There was times my daughter stays, with her dad on the weekends, or goes with her friends on the weekend, or cousins or whatever, and I'm really alone. I would sit out in my car till like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, not wanting to come in the house and be alone, because it's just, when you're in a relationship so long and you're with such a protective man and such an intelligent man, it's hard to, like, I make a joke and go, like, who died and left me Jay-Z? I want to be Beyonce. Yeah. Like, I don't want to be Jay-Z, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, two very strong individual people. But when they come together, it's very clear who's king and who's queen. You know, and I love their relationship. I don't know them, so this is just from observation like everyone else. But it's very clear, you know, she's not like trying to dominate him, you know, in his king position, and she flourishes in her queen position. I would love to have that. You know, I don't want to be the man. And right now I feel like I'm the man. In a sense. I'm the man of the house. Yeah, I get you know what I mean? I don't necessarily like being the man of the house. Michelle's Michelle, Obama's Obama. I don't want to be Obama. I want to be the Michelle. You feel what I'm saying? If I'm describing it right? Yeah. So, yes, that's going to be difficult in a sense, but I think so, and then at the same time, I don't think so. It's just a matter of finding the right person. And whether or not Patrice was a factor in my life in the past or not, I would still need a certain level of confident man, whether or not that existed. So it's a matter of finding that right person. Okay. That's all. Okay. I'm just back in I'm out with the wolves like everybody else now. I'm back in a single life pool. And it stinks. It stinks. I don't like being single. And the scary part about it is I'm getting into a flow where I'm getting used to it, to where it's almost like, you can't distract me right now. I'm busy. But I'm in a building stage. I'm in a building stage. I'm building, you know, I'm a mom. I'm running his stuff. You know, I'm running my stuff. I'm growing. But, you know, I'm open to dating. Good. Courtside seats at the Knicks game.
There you go.
Get me out any day of the week.
So I guess I'll finish up with... Okay, I was reading Marianne Williamson. She had how when someone you love dies, because I think about this with my grandmother, the relationship still continues and evolves, which I had never thought about like that. Like, I still feel close, or even maybe even closer to my grandmother. So with Patrice, how has it evolved, or has it continued to evolve in the 3 years?
I can understand that. I would say it's evolved because he's still in me. Like that night, he woke me up to finish lasagna. And sometimes if I'm coming out of a comedy club, I'll like see a flash in my, like, one night I swore I saw him sitting in my car. I know that sounds crazy, but I got in my car and I was like looking around like, yo, Patrice, why? Hey, yeah. You know, why don't you come sit in a car with me when I'm screaming, crying at 4 o'clock in the morning? He's always around in my spirit when it has something to do with working. And I think that's his way of giving me permission to go and not just do what I'm doing, but it's okay to carry his name on. I take that responsibility so humbly and seriously, and I think he's there for me in a sense. And I think that the growing sense of it is that I have the opportunity, because I'm still alive, to finish things that he couldn't finish. How serious is that? You know what I mean? So he still gets to grow with me, even though he's not here. You know, the bigger I become and the more successful I become, there's people that may not know him right now, but listening to this, they are going to Google Patrice O'Neal and see who is this man that taught this woman all these things. You know what I mean? So I'm still alive to carry these things on. And maybe that's, spiritually speaking, maybe that's, you know, they say you come into people's lives for a season and a reason. And he left so much in me that he'll always carry on through me. Always. Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. Well, it was a pleasure.
Thank you, boys. I feel like you got me all open because we know each other.
Yes.
We're going to have to edit some of this stuff.
It's an exclusive.
What did I say?
I dropped something in your water when you walked out the room.
Oh, that's Lord. What it was. And, you know, I don't do any type of drugs. I don't drink, so my body is very vulnerable.
This was herbal. Herbal. Yeah, it was herbal truth serum.
My body is vulnerable to all types of stuff. Like, I'm a weakling. Don't give me nothing. I'm goofy enough as it is.
Well, thank you. And that's it. Take care.
Thank you.
And that was the amazing Von Decarlo, the multi-talented Von Decarlo. Visit her on her website, vondecarlo.com, vondecarlo.com. And if you missed that, of course, it's in the show notes. Next year's a big year for her. She's got the new book. She's got the one-woman show. And I'm sure she's got plenty of other things going on, too, that we didn't even touch on. The Talk Music Talk website is talkmusictalk.com. Visit me there. And follow me on Instagram, which is my favorite social media, @thisisboice. @thisisboice. That's pretty easy. Till next time, come back, you better. And this one's for you, Liz.